What's going on? Welcome to the Forward Social Podcast. Now, this podcast right here, Forward Social, it's a spinoff. It used to be called Sunday Socials, but we were switching it around. We're going to Forward Social, and the reason is that podcast name was already taken. And when y'all look this podcast up, I want y'all to see Forward Social Podcast. Now here we go gather here to talk about almost anything, not everything, because everything don't need to be talked about. Notice I said almost anything. All right, let's go. What's going on, fellas?
What up? What's going on?
Nothing.
You didn't tell the audience that you was just talking and you behind the camera and we just sitting here looking crazy. So I know if I'm turning this on right now.
It seemed like they would
I hear
know
your
that I'm
voice, but
behind
I don't
the
see
camera.
your face.
Look, welcome to Forward Social. Now, don't get used to the faces you see right here because faces may switch up.
Oh, he's putting us on notice.
It ain't for y'all. It's just for
Nah, I'm just joking.
every now and
with
then.
you,
Everybody
man.
can't make it, right?
That's true.
Yeah, that's why it's called Forward Social. So anybody can come on here and we go socialize
There you go.
about anything.
There you go.
It's the barbecue.
Yeah.
With it, man.
Yeah. So we was talking about earlier off camera about why y'all, and I stereotyped y'all, why y'all don't bank black. It's Black History Month. We always talking black, blackity this, blackity that. And there's been talks about black people not banking black. What is y'all take on that? KP?
Oh man, I hate
Yeah, I'm
that you
gonna start
came
with
to
you.
me, man. I am guilty of not banking black. And you know what? It's funny you would bring this. I don't have a good reason why. It's I don't even have a good reason why I talk black, but I don't bank black. So I'm hypocritical on that. And I don't have an idea. I can't even think of a lie. But I just, in full transparency, I know about United. I know about there are several black banks. There's one in New Orleans, even Liberty Bank, and then you have United One, which is one of the bigger banks here. Not here, but in general. I know about them. I just do not use them, and I don't know. And it's not like they're not advertising because I hear and see the advertising all the time. I even know the CEO. I think her name is Terry, and man, I don't have no good reason, man. Find out from Larry.
Hey, for me personally, I think it's kind of the lack of exposure. You know?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of actually have to go. You got to be intentional about it
Mm-hmm.
to go bank black. And
It has to be intentional.
yeah,
That's right. You're
because
right.
So much of that industry is expressed with the much bigger banks.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to because they offer, something for your house, something for your car, life insurance. Like they dominate the market.
And we don't even know if the black banks do offer that because we're not in that space as a community to talk about it and be like, hey, well, no, so and so they gave me a personal loan for my kids' college tuition, or the black bank they financed my house.
Right.
No one has been over there and reported back. That might help.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think a big part of that too, I guess, unofficial, like trust issues. A lot of people. It's not just with banks. The black community has trust issues with the black community.
You got that right.
Black.
You can insert X, Y, and Z, whatever you want. Banks.
I think you just hit
hospitals,
the
bakeries, whatever you want. But banking black is something I think we definitely
need to be
look
intentional.
more into, be more intentional about because we always talking about keeping the money in the community.
You just reminded me of something, man. I got to Durham in 2016, and I remember going to Duke University Hospital maybe that same year or the next year after. And from then to now, I was just at Duke again visiting somebody. In the last year, I've probably been to Duke 3 times. I noticed more and more black people working there. Yeah. And I also noticed the depreciation of the quality of the security going through the door, of getting directions to where to get to the room, such and such. It's just a whole
Will,
culture.
you saying something now, Will?
Oh, nah.
You saying something that we should be able to talk about, but we get flamed when we talk about it. I'm with it, man. Listen, I love where you're going with that.
I don't got no problem.
Because what you're saying is if I understand, when we get involved in certain things, we bring down the quality of the thing, would not by our presence, but the way we act in those things. Because anywhere we are, we're the light and the source of everything that we're in. It's just unfortunate we have a few people that represent us, but don't represent us, that are, I would say, them DMV workers.
Yeah.
You know, when you go on a DMV, it's like you get on their nerves, you know, and they give you the hardest time. And right. And this, and when you look at the TSA and the DMV, it's our people who we absolutely love, but man, we got to do better.
Yeah. We have,
if that's what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I use that. That's the most recent experience I had. So when you talk about the black banks, my first thought is the quality of service and the energy I'm going to get at a so-called all black establishment. And unfortunately, I find myself heartbroken when I do have to admit
I know
the quality of service.
I don't want to admit it.
But not all of them, but at some establishments that have predominantly black, is below my personal standard. Right. And I'm not saying I haven't experienced that at a predominantly white establishment either.
Right.
But what I do say is that for peer pressure and for the reason of not wanting to seem anti-black, we don't hold each other to the standard. Okay. And that's on every level.
Well, because if you try, then you look like you are caping for the man. Yeah, like you caping for the man. And in all of our personal lives, or even our professional lives don't look like our personal lives. And I was like, when it comes to trying to be the person in the mix of all that, to hold everybody, hey man, we got to be better. We got to do this. We got to do that. They, man, get out of here with all that.
Right.
That's how they're going to receive. Meanwhile, Graham Wellington III can come in there and like, okay, guys, you guys gonna, and they perk up. They listen to him. Meanwhile, the person who's like me and you, we looking at him like, you know, I don't respond to that, you know. So it's kind of that. It's like that effect. So the people that are making it hard, when a non-melanated person come into play, then they quiet and they respect and they doing this. But the minute one of your peers or somebody who has an established record of like, hey man, let me show, we need to be better. Let's do this like this and do that. They revolt against it. They push back. But the minute the other guy comes, they all attention. While they're at attention, when that other non-melanated brother show up, me and you, the prisoner who was trying to get them in order, we not moved by that dude.
No.
You know, so it's the opposite. They get quiet and get more meek and docile when he show up. Meanwhile, we get more militant. Like, I hate that he had to show up to get this right when I was trying to tell y'all how to do it. Now I don't want to be part of none of this because I could never be under him like that. Right. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but they could be. And I think that's a part of trying to have that conversation about our community. That, like I said, we've had these conversations before and people have come for us or come for me, basically saying I don't even like being black. So,
they try it. Man.
Yeah. Because of this stuff right here, Will, what I'm saying.
I understand.
You know,
this is the social accountability that we need within our community. Somebody got to come out and be like, hey, we shouldn't be doing that because that makes us look bad as a whole. Let's do it this way. I think people's interpretation, they look at it like you were saying, like you anti-black or something.
Like you anti-black.
I'm for calling you out for some foolishness.
Right.
Now I'm anti-black.
Nah, I'm anti-black. Yeah. And now when Mr. Charlie come and tell you something, you all over it. You know what I'm saying?
You 10 toes down.
You 10 toes down. Or when, you know what I'm saying, I'm on you hugging the block and I'm telling you something else. And man, you don't tell me what to do. And then all of a sudden you get caught and laid up. Now you got to go listen to somebody else tell you what to do. That don't look like you. Right. You know, and somebody, you know, I don't know, man. I just either was gonna back away from that kind of conversation and because it's like you can't have a meaningful conversation of accountability from about your community coming from that community. It's like I said before, well, who else can have that conversation? If we all come from it, and now that we are able to look back in it and say, hey, listen, we got this wrong. This is what we need to do. And then, man, get out of here, shut up. So
that's the thing, man. Like you can't be rational with irrational.
True.
Of course, it's not the whole culture, man.
No, it's not.
It's a couple of bad apples in there that's spoiling it for everybody. But in regards to banking black, I think that is part of the issue. Another issue is exposure, like getting more eyes on what can be done, but also the establishment themselves laying out a promise and holding that to the community is important. Like if a black bank is like, hey, we're gonna offer all of these types of supportive programs, whatever, for the community, but actually stand on it, that is the starting point.
That is, in their commercial, which I hear United One commercials all the time, and they do.
Be honest, man, I never even heard of it.
Oh,
maybe I'm looking at something different.
Well,
pop up in my algorithm now.
Yeah, well, I listen mainly. I hear it a lot on Urban View. I listen to Urban View on channel 126 on XM radio, and that's the only channel I listen to because it's Urban View. And there's a lineup, there's a cast of people that I listen to. I was telling Leon about, like, hey man, you listen to these people, you will, it'll broaden your horizon or your knowledge base on things that we deal with daily and from the past. A lot of stuff you guys hear me say, that's where I learned it from. Urban View, yeah. From anything, man. I was just, they was going over just reporting on what happened at the president's house in Philadelphia. I don't know if y'all saw this maybe about a week and a half ago through executive order. Trump is with this DEI and the eraser of slavery in America. And let me just say this side note: slavery is white people's history. Our resistance is ours. I just like to put a pin in that. So they removed. I think when they were the president's houses. Where not Abraham Lincoln, where George Washington where he stayed. It was in Philadelphia before they moved it to the swamps of Washington, D.C. And so first two, I know John Adams, not John Quincy, I don't think his son, I don't think John Quincy Adams lived there, but they lived there. And the point of the story was George Washington is painted as the father of the Declaration. He's this and he's that. Well, him and his wife, Martha, own slaves. And there are 9 prominent slaves that they own and all their names. And they found this when they did the excavation for that particular president's house. And that's when you learn the names of Owner Judge, Hercules and Shields and all these people that worked in there. And so what happened was they have this monument at the president's house and he removed it. Trump had him remove it. Yeah, he had them remove the plaques, right? He had them remove the pictures and everything detailing these particular people that were enslaved by George Washington because he don't want to paint that, they don't want a mirror. But what they did not remove, because remember the social structure versus the governance structure. Social structure is who are we to white folks, and the governance structure is what we were having earlier, who we are to each other. That's the governance structure. So in the social structure, who white people think we are, they went in there and they removed the plaque that talked about Owner Judge and all the slave. But what they left was the Africana stuff, the Indinkra symbols. They left the Sanfo. What is that symbol? Sankofa. They left all the African stuff. And the meanings of it, and some of the writings, some of the Black historians have that's painted on a wall. I mean, that's enshrined in the wall. They left all that stuff, but they took the things depicting George Washington.
The direct connection to the direct connection of
yeah, but they left who we really are as far as the Indinkra the Sankofa, and they left all that because to them, we're slaves. We're not Africans. Because there's this saying that if you begin your history at 1619, you've already lost it. Anything that if you begin your history at 1619, then everything after is going to look like progress. And so there's that saying, and there's a saying that if your history starts with slavery, you've already lost as a person.
Mhm.
We were not slaves before we got here. And so you have to go back before. And that's what the saying COFA stand, or the indifferent symbols, or the unks. And so when you learn all this stuff, that's when I say the slavery is not our history. That's their history.
Right.
So I know I went into a whole thing, but I am saying, listening to those people that are on that station, they taught me that as it was happening, and then they reported. They went and filmed it, and they went and say, "Look, I saw in the news when they was removing the plaques and the stuff like that. I said, boy, that was a social structure story that you saw on CNN. But in the governance structure, when I went to 126, which is Black Chalk Landia, they told me the real.
Right.
It's like, yeah, they took that, but let me show you what they didn't take. Because to them, we're slaves. We're not African. So that African stuff, them and all that stuff that Sanko, they left that. Because to them, we're not African. We're slaves. Yes. So you see what I'm saying? See how your wheels are turning, Will?
Yeah.
It's like, but I got that narrative. I got that truth from that. So don't think I'm that smart.
No. But you gotta have, a good place where you can go and get good source of information. That's about
unredacted.
You. That's about you. That's progressive for you, and not the other way around. Because if you look at this, how we talk about main banks and big banks, it's the same thing with main media, small media, mainstream media. Like mainstream media is telling us something different,
right?
But you need more than one source to verify,
Mm-hmm.
because you can't just take it at face value.
That's right.
Things like that.
True.
But I mean, I guess to bring it all back to banking black, it's a couple things that we can pick up on our side of things to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go be more intentional about trying to seek out.
What do it mean to bank black?
That's a good thing too.
What,
I mean,
really?
for me, it starts with: is this something that's gonna also come back into my community? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it gonna rotate in my community? Is this bank doing something for my community? Is it doing something for my people going forward? That takes some internal research, and then you got to get out there and see, okay, is this for us? It's like FUBU. Is it for us?
It's really for us. That's what I mean.
I
understand what that really means to do anything black in this country.
Just because it's black doesn't mean it's good for you.
What does it mean to be black?
Yeah,
like that changes probably from one person to the next.
Mm.
What does it mean to bank? We know what banking means, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to be banking black?
Right.
Because if I'm a black man and I go into any bank, right? Am I banking black? I'm a black guy. I'm giving you some white people money, right? that I earned. That a white government cut a check and print it, and I'm putting it in the bank that's supposedly owned, ran, and managed by black people.
Mm-hmm.
Did I bank black when I did? Like, what does that really mean? That's not redundant. I'm serious. Like,
no, I see.
I need some help with that.
Well, I would say that if you asking the question, what does it mean to bank black? So we'll get into like benefits of it, which we haven't gotten into that. But let's just say the optics of it. One thing that Larry said is, if you're gonna bank black, like you're gonna bank with just a primarily black bank, you have to be intentional. Like, I'm very intentional in how I spend my money. I intentionally buy black products, so I actually feel good, and I feel that income that I've earned from, let's say, the other source that you talked about, and I was able to put it back in my community with that thing, and I got a good for it. So we end up doing the thing that we talked about, circulating that money within the community. So that's the idea of banking.
That's the idea. So it sounds like what I'm hearing is a part of banking black means to apply your money in a way where it's going to make sure that it's supposedly come back into the black community.
Right. It circles within the black community.
Right. Okay.
And you're empowering your black community, because the more of us that do it, the bigger this entity gets.
Gotcha.
Because they only service Black people.
Mm-hmm.
So we always talk about how the dollar leaves the Black community faster than any other dollar, with the white dollar, Asian, and Jewish dollar. That is a way to intentionally to keep the dollar circulating within the community. Like Larry said, it's intentional for me. So I know when I buy actively Black stuff, or I buy Italian twine watch, or I know without a doubt that I just bought it from a Black company. It's intentional.
Right.
And so the person that's getting that dollar is Black. The person that's going to spend that dollar is Black. And he may be intentional like me, and he is buying Black products.
Okay.
And so that's what it means. And so just replace that with banking Black.
Yeah.
So the more money that we bring into that organization, it's Black and it's service Black. So that is what I would say, banking Black.
So if banks have these things called interest rates and how these opportunities to grow your money, if the Black banks had less of those opportunities to grow your money than the non-Black banks, what would we do?
That's a good question, because I don't know how to answer that. Let's just say that
You understand what
I
I'm
understand
saying,
what
right?
you're saying.
Yeah.
You're saying that let's just say a bank like Chase is offering a 4% yield on a CD, and all of them are doing 4 to 6%, but the Black bank is only doing 2 to 3%.
Yeah.
Why would I spend my money with them? Now, some of us will say, you know what? I don't care. It's a pride thing with me.
That'd be personal.
And it'll be a personal agency thing for me. And it's like, I know that I can get more with them. But if I put more of my time and effort into them, that 2 to 3% that they're giving on that CD, but now that we've gotten their money up, maybe they can offer that now, you know? And I liken it to going to an HBCU versus a PWI. You know, if you go to Penn State, you're going to get this, and that. You know that it's going to have this. HBCU, you're going to get less. It's not because the HBCU is less. It's because of the funding is less.
Yeah. How the resources.
Don't have the resources.
Got you.
And so you got to make do with what we got, what we used to that.
Yeah.
You know, and so a lot of times we lose sight of that, Will, you know. So that's why I would say that would be the answer to that.
Yeah.
You know.
And I'm not anti none. I'm just, these are questions. Keep in mind, I don't know how much you heard my story, but having been incarcerated for 25 years, a lot of these concepts are new to me. So, and they're important to me because I've been hearing some pro-Black stuff. I'm come from the 80s hip hop, and most of the hip hop in the 80s was all pro-Black, right? And then very educational.
Yeah.
I got more education from KRS-One and Public Enemy than I got from any of my school systems about Black history, right? So with that in mind, when I got out of prison and I started seeing this movement about pro-Black, banking Black, getting your food from Black farmers, all these different things, in my mind, I wanted to have a more in-depth understanding of it. I didn't want to just do something with somebody that was Black like me just because we were both Black. Because in my life, I had just as many issues with people who look like me than knowingly than I did from people who didn't look like me. Then I understand these institutions, how they run. I'm like, how can you really do something Black?
Right.
How can you?
I look at it like this, man. When we talk about Black community, my whole thing about Black communities, we got to be on the same page. We have to, because if not, then we're not working towards nothing together.
True.
You know?
I agree.
So if we talk about banking Black, then we need to be on the same page of how is this Black community, this Black bank, supporting this Black community. And I think I don't know anything about the banking industry as much, but I know the differences between you have these main big box banks and you have the credit unions.
All right, that's what I was going to go into.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to go. Right, and there's levels to it.
Exactly. Like, but they also have more of a personal stake in the community that they are in.
Yeah,
because they don't have a national reach.
Yes.
And so we got to be more cognizant of that, but not just that. We need to do more extensive research behind the institutions that say that they're Black, because we do have lots of things in our community that on the surface level, they look like they're Black owned, but behind that, they're not Black owned.
Well, that's true.
We have lots of things like that. You know, lots of the food that we consume might have started out Black owned. Lots of hair care products, stuff not black owned,
Mhm.
got bought out because it kind of comes with the nature of the business and acquisitions, whatever have you. But again, a black community does not have the privilege to allow that to happen within itself, because that's how you get the gentrification. That's how you get everything taken over. Like, we have to personally make a choice to say, I know that's a better deal over there,
Right.
but my purpose is for us to
That's
work together.
Yeah.
And you have to make some sacrifices.
That's why you got to be intent. That goes that word you say, that intentional.
Yeah,
you know it's going to be less.
Exactly.
You have to be intentional to build.
Right. We're building something over here that's going to take the sacrifice and not accepting what looks good over there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where, again, we're not on the same page with that.
Not that part.
Yeah.
That part. And I think with because I know United One is one of the largest black banks. It's one of the larger ones because they got the digital. No, it's digital, so it's more online. Yeah. I don't think, and someone could correct me going forward in the thing, I don't think they have a brick and mortar. I think if they have a brick and mortar, maybe one, and it may be DC. So I doubt it. I'm not sure that they have a brick and mortar, and that's the problem. But I think for its assets, they have a large amount of assets, and so. But the thing is can United One compete with the Chases and all those other ones? Probably, but what they don't do a good job. Let me just say this: with the credit unions, the banks can't even compete with credit unions. So if you're with a job and there's a credit union, that credit union 9 times out of 10 is going to be more lenient and more forgiving, credit worthiness and loan wise than a bank. So if you're with a credit union, any credit union, you have a far better chance of getting along with the credit union than you do with a major bank. That is a fact. And that's why you have a lot of people that want to be Navy Federal Credit or coastal teachers, and stuff like that. So that's why the credit unions have been able to build their wealth up, because people know that if you start doing business with them, you're on a point system, because you do direct deposit, you have a CD account, or you have this account and that checking account, a savings account. You get so many points so that when you want to go do a loan for a car, it's easier to get approved. They'll work with you. And so what our banks don't do a good job of, at least I haven't heard, that they need to be competing for that credit union, that black member credit union person. And I don't think they have the funds to do it, because a lot of times you get with Navy Federal, they'll give you a $25,000 credit card just like that. They'll give you a personal loan. They, just going into them if you got the right score and have the right internal score is what they use. That's why a lot of people use the credit unions. To be honest with you, Will. So I know that you were saying that you was coming out, so I didn't know if you had recognized the difference between the two.
So let me say this: you touching on something. I know somebody that church. I ain't gonna say the church name, but they had a black bank. I ain't gonna say the bank name. They had been banking with the black bank for a long time. The church is a black church. Speaking of what you're saying, they went to get some funding. The black bank kept giving them the money. The church took their money out after banking with them for a long time.
They didn't have the money.
They didn't have assets. They didn't have.
That's why it's got to be. They didn't deny them. They was like, we don't have that to give.
Right. Now, another thing, speaking of what you're saying, it says Liberty Bank and Trust Company headquarters in New Orleans is widely recognized as the largest black-owned bank. Mm-hmm. But then it goes to say One United Bank, which you spoke of, is frequently cited as the largest. Yeah. So I don't go back and forth.
Right. But I know Liberty's got a brick and mortar.
Okay.
I don't know about One United, but that's why I was saying Liberty. That's
what's M&F is black bank.
Mechanics and Farmers
black bank, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it was more of an issue. Yeah. But I don't even know if that's still is that still a thing? Mechanic Farmers?
Yeah, it's still a thing.
Okay.
I think it's two in Durham. Yeah, two in Durham. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, we need more. We need a lot of black institutions. But again, it takes to get on the same page to make that happen.
You would have to, just like that black church experience, man. They was banking black. They had their money in it. They were pouring into the community of black banking. And when they needed them, It wasn't there. And it wasn't because of a no, it was because of funding. It's no different than that college recruit that, you know, you come get a kid out of an urban area and you bring him to USC, right? For a recruiting trip and then take him to Alcorns.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So that's gonna he would have to make a conscious decision to say, you know what, I know I got more resources over there, but I'm gonna go where they need me the most.
Yeah. Have One United, Carver Federal Savings Bank, Citizen Trust Bank, Liberty Bank and Trust, Mechanics and Farmers. Farms. Yeah.
So I think, man, it comes down to mutual loyalty, mutual trust. Because whatever the institution is to the community and the community to that institution, it has to be a two-way street, mutual loyalty, for it to work.
Yeah.
There has to be a point to it working. Because if I know I can go to the credit union and they're gonna work with me, I'm gonna keep going to the credit union, even though the big box bank got better programs and they offer better, rates. But I know I can go to this credit union. I might even know the CEO there, whoever is in charge there, person, and talk with them.
I'm hearing the versatility of being supportive of your black banks, your black institutions, and also it's both and also depending on what it is you're trying to do, timing of it, what you need done, being aware of opportunities to get that done another way if you had to. And I'm reflecting on the scripture where God says he gives his people the proper food at the proper time. And the way I interpreted that, the way I processed that being knowledgeable of the black banks and the other institutions gives you the wisdom and the insight to know when to execute your play and how to execute it. Because I think if you want anybody 100% goes about supporting nothing but black institutions, be it banks, universities, whatever, hospitals, all these things that we should have and should want to have. I think that there's I won't call it a glass ceiling. It's a concrete ceiling, man. That's going to always be set up to try to press you back down. So we got to be so creative, so ingenuitive to continue to get around and over that ceiling in different ways. Because the obvious way has its limits and its capped, and it takes so much time. Realistic, man, we hundreds of years behind in this race, man. Yeah. And
at least right. What we at least that because
at least that.
Well, I'll tell you that, I touched on this thing called epigenetic that we talked about, and I explained how epigenetics is the passing down of trauma through generation, even though the other generation had not physically endured. They have it epigenetic through DNA passed down. So I will say this. We're talking about black banks. The first black bank, and Leon can look this up and give us more insight on it. The first black bank was the Freedmen's Bureau, the Freedmen's Bank. And it was founded right after the Civil War. Frederick Douglass was one of them, very instrumental. And shout out, it's his birthday yesterday, by the way. We should have did some Black History. Frederick Douglass' birthday was on February 14th, as recognized February 14th. That's not his real actual birthday. He said his birthday was February 14th because his mama used to always say he was her Valentine.
Okay.
And so he said, well, that's my birthday because his mama always called him her Valentine.
Before you finish that, you said the first black bank was what?
Freedmen's Bank, Freedmen's Bureau.
So I'm looking this up right here. It says the Capital Savings Bank in Washington, D.C., which opened in October 17th, 1888, is recognized as the first black-owned bank in the United States. Shortly after, the True Reformers Bank in Richmond, Virginia, founded by Reverend William Washington Brown, became the first black-owned bank to receive a charter opening in April 1889. So, I'm looking for Freedmen's. I look up Freedmen's.
Yeah, you look up the Freedmen's Bank. Freedmen's Bank, because it was it's named after the freedman.
Yeah.
Right after the Civil War. Yeah. So that 1888 bank throwing me off because that is not.
So it's
That's Elon's thing. You need to go to Beyonce's internet, dude. Because they throwing you. Well, that's not right.
Already erasing it.
Already.
Unless they already erasing it.
Because they actually, so to go into the story why he's need to switch to Google, he need to switch to Beyonce's internet. It was a Freedmen's Bank because Frederick Douglass pushed that bank and he petitioned black people to put their money in that bank. And black people, every little nickel they was getting, they was putting in that bank. What you think happened?
Well, I've looked up, I went to Google and I went to ChatGPT. And both of them are giving me, the first bank owned by African Americans in the United States was a savings bank of the Grand Fountain United Order of True Reformers, commonly known as True Reformers Bank. It was chartered March 2nd, 1888 by the Reverend William Washington Brown. And neither one of these are coming up with the Freedmen's Bank. So I don't know. Black History Month. We're learning. But while you're looking that up, for those of you who are not banking black, what do you think about that if you're watching this episode, Banking Black? Now, some people say that the other institutional banks, it's good to bank with them, but do something like a savings account in a black bank.
Yeah, your algorithm got to be off, brother.
I don't know what it is.
It says, Freedmen's Bank records 1865 to 1874. These are the records of it. Hold on.
But yeah, go bank black.
70,000 depositors. That means people across 29 branches, held in National Archives. That's not.
And for those of you who's watching this episode, go look up what was the first black bank.
Yeah, it's a homework assignment.
It's a homework assignment. It's a homework assignment.
Hey,
everybody's not.
It's an opportunity to give up some Impel merch. Whoever figures this out.
Yeah, give up some Impel merch.
That's the black thing to do, right?
Yeah, the black thing.
That's
a black thing to do.
No, it's right here. I looked it up. You know, it says read instructions. The Freedmen Savings and Trust Company, popularly known as the Freedmen's Bank, was incorporated by Congress March 3rd, 1865, and the bank maintained some 37 offices in 17 states, including the District of Columbia. Because of mismanagement, abuse, and fraud, other economic strength, the bank failed in 1874, leaving tens of thousands of depositors. Yeah, leaving in ruin.
So that may be why they're not putting in these records, because the other banks came after them.
Well, they came. So what happened? So just like everything else we know, remember I told you when you learn history, that's what Sankofa means. Sankofa means going back into the past to build the future. And so there's the way that you know what's going to happen is knowing the past. And in this bank, it might have been black owned, but it was non-melanated ran. And so they dissolved those funds, not the black people running it, but the other people that was running it. But that's the true story of it.
That goes back to what Larry's saying. A lot of things we call black owned may not be black owned. And
yeah.
So could it be called really a black bank?
So it was legislated by the Congress to be black owned, but not really, because it was federal bank, right? But they put their people to oversee it. And they put black faces to bring people into it, to bring the money. So when black people start pouring their money into it, once they got enough of it, they start saying, it's waste, fraud, and abuse.
So Ben, did you say that? Do we have to be more mindful of how can I say this? You said that. So to me, it sounds like black people knew white people was behind the bank, correct?
They knew that they were in the key positions.
Remember,
it's a federal bank.
Right.
So they had the people who was just whipping people not too long ago. Now they working in the bank, holding their money. You thought they were going to do right by them people?
And they called it a black bank.
Well, they called it a black bank because it was remember, there was no bank. It was a freedmen's. They wasn't free.
Mm-hmm.
So Congress approved, as I read, Congress did this. I don't know why they bury in your history, man.
But it ain't, it's saying, mine saying the same thing as what you're saying. You just looked up the Freeman's Bank. But the reason the Freeman's Bank is not in or Google or ChatGPT is because that bank was before these, so they eliminated that bank and didn't even put it in the history. That's all you saying.
But it should have been in the history because it's the oldest black bank, is what I'm saying. Federally, a federal chartered bank. That's the first black bank.
But it wasn't no black bank. It was a white bank ran by black people.
And it was a bank by the federal government. So,
who was the federal government?
So no, this is the key words. No, these are the key words. Black owned bank. So I would be wrong in my calculation because it's not black owned. This is a federally funded. This is a federal bank.
Well, there lies the whole confusion.
Lies the difference in why it didn't show up in your thing because you said first black owned. But I know that the first bank for black folks was the Freedmen's Bureau Bank. So
that's you saying two different things now.
No, but I'm
first black.
I'm understanding why now.
Right.
Because it's federal and that's not black owned.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's government.
So that's
And so what you found was because you Googled oldest black bank. And that's why you got that. Now I see.
Which goes back to my initial question. How do we really know if we doing something all black?
Bro, it's HBCUs right now that are not.
No, exactly. That's exactly right.
So, I mean,
well, a lot of those are not right.
Hey, y'all about to start an argument in the comments.
Nah, how you know?
But I agree with you. I know.
Really know.
People know, black people know too, but they still would argue. I was bringing up at that point. They would argue.
We got a bad habit of doing something consistently because it feels like the right thing to do.
Exactly.
Whether it's right or not, I feel enough. I've done it enough where it don't feel as bad. It feels good to me to know sentimentally. I threw something to the black people. I did something for blacks. I did. It's a lot of people feel like that ain't black, but we romanticize this black thing so much to where I don't care what you say. I'm doing it anyway. Yeah. And I close my eyes to how it tumbles. I just tossed it out the window that way, and wherever it land. No different than giving somebody with a sign on the corner. You don't know what he or she gonna do with the money. I have no idea. But if I'm sentimentally moved, spiritually moved, whatever, to do that, I do that. I keep pushing, and I hope and pray he does opposite of what my imagination tells me he's going to do. I say all that to say is, what does it really mean to bank black without knowing what you just Googled?
Right.
Because if I was a white guy and I knew how if I was a white person and slavery wasn't that long, I know how resourceful, how ingenuitive, how marketable black people are.
Exactly.
And I wanted some more black money. I'm going to put you in the face, and I'm going to sit back and count the bread.
So, right. So you know who Will just described? Who?
Of course.
A Jewish person.
Yeah, all day long.
Because that's who's doing it.
All day long.
They're smart enough with the capital and the resources enough, and they're keenly tied. They know our flow. They know our cadence.
Yeah.
And they like, that's dope. You know what? I can't create that, but I know if I get two more like that, and I bring this person in, that person in, it's not a begrudgment on the Jewish community because that's what they do. But what you just described, is if not a particularly white man, but
that's business.
Yeah, that Jewish man is very business oriented.
The most marketable person, most influential, and they're gonna follow your swag. I'm gonna support you. Go ahead.
Yeah. If I was a Jewish person, I would do the same thing.
A lot of that's because, like y'all was saying before, like we're behind the eight ball. Like these people got so much of a leg up on the game. They've been doing this so long. Now we come along and it's like, how can I figure this out? While they still running laps around us, you know?
Yeah. It's because it's the lack of resources. Like I'm saying, if I was in, this is not me saying this, me personally, but if I was not black man, if I was Jewish, like you said, then I would appropriate that the black culture because I can see how dope they are, and I can capitalize on that. And so to clear that up, no, I'm not Jewish, I'm black. But if I was the way Larry's describing it,
Mm-hmm.
the way Larry's describing
Yeah.
what he, and I was like, well, that sounds like what's what what they would do. So if I was even if I was a white guy, I would do the same thing. I would see, because they know.
Well, that's what they do. Now, see,
Yeah.
you making that point, so that
They know.
So you saying that? Now we're going to a whole nother subject.
Mm-hmm.
You saying that is kind of what? Well, you said you got it the other day when I finally explained it to you. What you were saying about the we're going back to the Super Bowl when he was like, some lady put out some comment saying that us as blacks built the stage.
Yeah, we built that
But we got
platform,
the platform, and we got Hispanics performing at the halftime show. So that's basically what you
without putting in any sweat equity.
Right, yeah.
Well, and I was tying that to just about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that we've done had allowed all the other nationalities to get here. We're the reason why they got the Immigration Act in 18. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We pushed for a lot of things, and so
we had this conversation. Wow, we're trying to explain the difference between black excellence, and black power.
Yeah,
and that was the whole thing. Like, we excel at black excellence, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue is we don't have black power, which manages and controls that excellence. You know?
I was, matter of fact, you remind me, I had these conversations and to myself or with other people I know, and we celebrate the black people that have a lot of money. However, they get it, entertainers, acting, whatever. And I always say that there's something else that we lack. It's the power, the influence to change a law. We don't have that. We get a lot. White people don't care about you getting a lot of money at something, because they have hundreds of years of unlimited money for free labor.
Right.
So power is the next best thing.
Right.
And when you don't have power, I could give you $5 billion right now. What you gonna do besides spend it back with me?
Larry was saying, black power.
You gonna give it back to me?
Yes.
Everything you want to buy with that level of money, guess what? Somebody else made it.
I follow Dr. Henry Clark, man. A lot of his speeches. He said something to me that stuck with me like the last 5-6 years. He says, black people, black Americans, the black community are a very ceremonious people with no substance. And that's not an insult.
No.
It's not an insult. It's actually looking at it layers deep. Like, we celebrate so much. We have so much pride and so much honor within ourselves and the things we do, but we don't convert that into power. And control of it. We don't convert it. You know?
Do we know how to?
And that's another part of it too.
How you do that?
Yeah.
How you do that?
Yeah. So we talk about being pro-black stuff all the time. Like you said earlier, what does that mean?
Yeah, what is that? I don't know what it means, man. I've always heard it as a setup, as a gaslighting me, especially when I was younger. The older guys that always talk the pro-black stuff, always, most of the time, man, they kind of revved up us younger guys to go do something stupid that they benefited from. And that was described as being black. And on a more positive note, the people that I've heard talk about black empowerment and things like that all the time, they felt like they had too many personal things to risk to really get on the front line. Like, they kind of pushed us to get on the front line. So when I started seeing that, I'm like, man, I'm not, you don't want to lose your position in your life, your station in life. But you talk that talk now, you get that microphone and you draw us to the park and you pop a lot of smack. But when it came time to really, that suit you got on too nice to get dirty. Them shoes too slick to get dirty. But us younger people, we wanted to be led, so we was willing to do the grunt work. But we looked around at you and you were just constantly comfortably talking in situations like this, having conversations. But really hand to hand, the guerrilla warfare really didn't see you. The guys that were doing that were in prison for the rest of their life.
The ones that was doing it. But even throughout our struggles and our triumphs through those struggles, when we look at our community leaders, they weren't well off. Martin Luther King wasn't well off. Malcolm X wasn't well off. B.R. Rustin, who worked with Martin Luther King, wasn't well off. A. Philip Randolph, Ida B. Wells, who had the printing press, Fannie Lou Hamer. All these people were warriors, man, but they did not have the means. And so that's, in essence, what you're saying is So if we're looking for an Oprah or Jay-Z to get in the mix, they not. Now I will tell you that there were Oprahs and Jay-Z's behind the scenes in a lot of these things, especially with like what was his name? Robert Church. Robert Church was in Tennessee. He had this big, beautiful house, and you hear in Tennessee, Bill Street, he was very instrumental because he had a lot of brothel places. He had a lot of money that he was making.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Hey,
but he was funding, he was funding a lot of things, and he was funding a lot of things. No different than you hear a lot of the singers or not the singers, but the singers and the actors and actresses that was actors actress that were forming the activists, with the Harry Belafonte and Josephine. I mean, all of those people were being funded secretly. Like you hear after Prince died, Prince was, kind of breaking people off money to do this, and that. So behind the scenes, you have it, but it's not enough of it. But I know it was happening in the, 50s, 60s, and 70s because it's documented now. And so we do need those people that are well off to actually fund some of this stuff. They don't have to have their name to it, but but actually funding it so that you can get these things done would actually help.
I know everybody had their own kind of style. It's so many different levels to all of this, and everybody has their own type of ministry. But for me, I've identified that there's an effectiveness in starting your movement right where you stand. One person at a time, one household at a time, one opportunity at a time. And then when you get that momentum, and that momentum gets to spinning more and more, then it starts to grow and then the outreach kicks in.
Right.
But when you most of the time that started in little small pockets with a few people who get so fundamentally sound about what we're doing, they're capable to go out and start the description I just described about that process. Because I'm telling you, they commercialize. Our values are so steeped in money that people with money easily write a check or drop a bag off, knowing that we gonna fall for that, head over heels for that most of the time. The ones with values that's not centered on money, that's really centered on equality, furthering their people, they don't have a lot of money.
Right.
They don't seek to have a lot of money.
No.
And when they get some, it's dispatched.
They give it out.
It's dispatched back to the people, back to the movement.
Right. I think what they learned is, like you said, when they get it, they're dispersing it out, is they learn that what we know biblically for the love of money is the root of all evil, and they don't want to be absolutely corrupted. And then two, there's still a biblical principle of blessing and tithing, and it's maybe not tithing to a church, but tithing to someone in giving and offering. Right? And they just want to bless people because how it makes them feel.
How can we bank black if we don't understand finance?
How can we do what? Bank black?
Bank anywhere.
Right.
But back to that, if you don't understand finance.
I would say, well, not understanding finances prevents you from banking black. Someone who understands banking should be banking black. I should be banking with one of these black banks.
Should be ashamed of yourself.
I know better. Right? Right. Because I know better, Will. Yeah, I know better.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't. But I know better.
Is that intentional that you don't?
I need to be more intentional because
he doesn't have a reason.
I don't even have a reason.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a reason, and I'm actually calling myself to the carpet.
Yeah,
these things, but there are a lot of unknowns. I don't know. I don't know how those banks will compare to a credit union because you do get more upward mobility with a credit union, but I don't know to say that is more without knowing a little bit more about the structure of these black banks. But I do know that when you talk about education, they do offer different AI education because, like I said, I hear it in a commercial, and that's why. I hear the commercial because I listen to the radio station that they were actually on. That they do have a lot of information. It's just when it comes on, I tune it out And I'm being honest. And I think that if we're going to be pro-black, we're going to be this, I got to be honest, even with my brothers. Like, I hear it, but I kind of tune it out because I'm like, oh, I got a bank already.
Got you.
You know, and now I'm calling myself out like, all right, well, you are actively black, but are you actively black? This is me talking to myself. So I got to hold myself more accountable. And, you know, I hate that Leon posed that question, but I'm glad he did.
Yeah, you got to, the truth gets peeled back. You got to take a look at it.
I don't want to jump around, but this Jordan Lake little thing is driving me. What is that about Jordan
I don't want to jump around. Jordan Lake was something that we thought that we would go down the wormhole on because we were thinking, it came up in a question or people ask, and then someone say, hey man, y'all might need to do a podcast on Jordan Lake. Jordan Lake right here off of 40, like how you can get to Jordan Lake. And it was talking about, you know, it's a man-made reservoir. And we were trying to liken it to what happened in Lake Lanier. If you're familiar with Lake Lanier.
I heard the name.
Yeah, Lake Lanier was about black, I would say, thriving like we always have. Yeah. And they removed the black community from Lake Lanier and flooded it. And so that's why they say that lake is haunted. There's been some mysterious deaths and things like that. And much like, so when I went down the wormhole learning about Jordan Lake, I thought that it was going to uncover something like the Hayti area here. But it's not that. From doing the research, there were blacks, there were Native Americans, there was white people, but mainly a lot of farmers. It was a lot of farmland. And once they fill it in, it took a while for them to fill it. I think they commissioned it in 1960. And then it finally filled in 1982. And
that's one of those things where he was having a conversation with somebody. And let me know if I'm telling this right. He thought it was black, all black.
Well, yeah, we were thinking that it was all black, and he was asking me, and I didn't have the working knowledge on it. I was like, just like anything, I said, let me go down the wormhole. Let me do some studying on this. And I thought I was going to uncover a Lake Lanier type of thing.
But it is.
Or city, Central Park in New York.
But it is cities.
You know, did the same thing.
It is cities. It's towns.
It was
towns,
but they
under the
recognized water. Towns. It
underwater at Jordan Lake.
Jordan Lake, yeah.
Yeah, that city. So just
houses,
like
whatever.
Just like Lake Lanier, Jordan Lake. When the water is low, you can see the streets. You can see the stuff where they just flooded right over.
Still a town.
It's still a town under there.
Really?
Yeah.
I ain't know that.
Yeah. When it gets low, you can still see some of the land markings and stuff that's under there.
And this in the 60s?
They started in 1960, and it finally filled in 82, I think. It took
I'm looking it up right now.
Take a lot. You trying to drown a town, bro.
Yeah, you drown a town. It was by the Hall River. It was a dam that they had that they let that dam loose and it flooded. From what river was that? The Hall River?
They said it was authorized in 1960s and finished filling just in 1982.
That's what I just.
Yeah.
No, you didn't say nothing about 1982. I said it was just.
Did I not say that?
What?
See,
it was finished. It was finished around 1982.
That's what I was saying.
Well, he wanted me to go into detail. He wanted more information, so I'm reading. That's at the beginning.
Okay, go ahead.
Even if you did say it, it's in Chatham County. The purpose was flood control, drinking water supply, water quality protection, fish, which we know our water is anyway, wildlife conservation and recreation for the growing Triangle region. Yeah.
So that's more of the government doing what it does.
The government, do eminent domain. A lot of people, it was reported that was displaced. They didn't get fair market value for their property. That's what eminent domain does. They're not going to pay you. They say either you take this or we just going to take it.
So let me ask y'all, both of y'all, everybody this. Why do some people say when you tell them, when you share these stories and you say, hey man, history sometimes repeats itself, and people say, nah, they can't do that.
Oh.
They can't. What if we get busy with this black banking thing, right? And it just takes off, and black banks start.
And they do like the Freedmen's Bank, like they did.
They going,
right? Real strong. Black banks everywhere. Black people thriving, right? What y'all think is gonna happen?
I guess the next thing to know is back to the bank is to find out all the black banks that are now are
Uh-huh.
still here, are they really black banks or
Are they
owned by
really
black
black
people?
That'd be the
You
first
gotta
thing
look beyond this.
Yeah.
to see if mechanical
Yeah.
farmers or the liberty. Right.
oh, you want me to look it up?
You've been looking up everything.
No, let me look it up. Let me look it up.
Yeah.
It's important.
Oh, and let me say this again. This is the Forward Social Podcast. This is KP on your right,
Mm-hmm.
Larry the Modified Gentleman in the middle, and my man Will on the left. Oh, I forgot to introduce him in the beginning, but go ahead with your conversation.
Okay. All right. I done lost track. So we need to start over?
No.
No,
Inevitably,
man.
we got to stay mindful that there's tendencies by the government when we start thriving in any aspect of life.
So we know that. We've learned it. We've experienced it. That's the paralysis that we lay in when we're thinking, like, man, I'm going to do this, we're going to do that. But then history tells us as if you get too successful and you're too black, that they are too going to come for you.
Yeah.
You know, and so that gives us paralysis. And we get what someone say paralysis by analysis, meaning that we've analyzed what they've done. Like you said, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes, is what I say. So what has been done can be done. And we look at that analysis like they'll just do it again, you know. And I kind of know if black banking takes off, you got to understand that black banking, if you look at the shareholders of black banking of the money they actually hold, it ain't even close to the Hispanic bank or the Italian banks. If you look them up, black banks are, in terms of holdings, is way down. The Hispanic bank or Latin bank or the Italian bank, they way ahead of us in forms of assets.
And I think along them lines, I see every other, the less melaninated people, like you said, they want to believe that when it gets real hot in the kitchen, I could side with them until they have what's going on with ICE. But as long as you leave that room to feel like you could side with them when it gets crazy and not side with us, everybody's okay with that. So in my opinion, these institutions don't mind these other banks having more of the chips.
Yeah.
It's just don't let us get it.
You just nailed it.
Yeah.
So you just nailed it. They're free to move about the cabin, but then they look that community that we talk, that I don't want to get too far into, not all, but that particular community to look at us and say, man, why y'all can't get y'all stuff together? And we tell them, and we say the words like, well, the minute we do, they're going to come knock us down. Oh, there you go with the victimhood. There you go with the victimization. What can't you not do that today as a black man that a white man can't do? That's the next question they would ask, you know, and be like, do I have to answer that? Yeah. And so it happens. So you get frustrated, get mad, like, that paralysis by analysis. You know what I'm saying? Because it paralyzes you. But it's something you put in the chat. Dr. Claude Anderson talked about this in 1994. Dr. Claude Anderson talked about the emergence of the immigrant and how the immigrants are going to come in, and eventually, instead of us being the number 2 people, we're going to be the number 4 people. And he's right. We are. If you look at the population he said this in 1994, that it was going to happen, and it was going to happen. And so I got caught up in the fact that we are the global majority, meaning there are more black people on this ball than there are any race when you join the melanated brothers together. So we will be the global majority. But here in the United States, we are the minority. And we were always number 2. Like Dr. Claude Anderson said, he said, if you didn't get nothing when you were the number 2 race here, what you think you're going to get when you're the number 4? And so he said in 1994 that this would happen. And obviously it has happened with the emergence of immigration and Asians coming over. I don't think the Asian population is more than us, but if it continues at this rate, it will be. But I do know that I had already known the Latino community was more than them here than we are. I had known that just simply by observation. I watched in my where I lived. At one point, it was mixed black and white, and then I blinked my eyes. It was all Hispanic. And then I remember going out into the community, going to the stores, and it was mixed race people. About 3 years, all Hispanics. And so I've seen these things happen.
I'll
now,
tell you a story that's relevant to what we're talking about. I was in prison. We had a young white programmer who just got the job, claimed to be a Christian guy, right? And he came in there with a very Christ-like heart, meaning he was wanting to help. To be a programmer, you're set up to supposedly help guys progress through the prison system. He came in bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, wanting to help everybody he could by doing his job the way he was supposed to do it. And one day when I saw him, he was downcast. And I asked him, what's going on? He was like, I don't know. I don't feel as happy to be here as I did when I first started. I really came here to help. And I said, man, riddle me this. I've been at that particular time, I've been in prison 11 years. And I told him, I said, here's what I think happened. When you applied for this job, you were sitting in the office with this person that was going to hire you, and they had a Bible on their desk, and they had a Christian plaque with praying hands on their wall, right?
There you go.
How I know this is because I had been in that up in that office before. And I said, you came in and just getting to know small talk. You said you was a Christian. You didn't live in this small country town. You probably was going to the same church as them because it's a small town like that. And I said, y'all, you felt like you had camaraderie with them because y'all had Jesus as your centerpiece, right?
Yeah.
You brought that to work and they were glad to have you. But when you started practicing those tenets, those Christ-like tenets on us inmates, you got called in the office and you got scolded for that. And you was told, leave Jesus at church on Sunday. Don't bring him into this prison from Monday through Saturday, right? And I said, now you kind of got a little write-up on your jacket. And not only that, right? Your wife is pregnant. She's expecting a child. And based on your salary and your credit, you bought a home.
Yeah. Ooh,
now you need this money,
right?
Because your wife told you, I like that house, baby, and you bought it for her and you made her happy, right? And y'all got the baby crib. This is where the room, all of these things, and you banking on your salary like you should. But you're being scolded because your job is in jeopardy because you're treating us like human beings. And now you had an internal conflict with yourself because you say that God is the centerpiece of your life.
Right.
But the job is saying only on Sunday. Don't bring that in here.
You can't serve two masters.
And I said, you're troubled by that.
You and read him.
Said, how did you know?
You read
I think I've been at this prison 11 years. You know what I mean? Interns and young people I seen coming here. I don't want to be an officer. I want to be a programmer. I want to help these guys. Right. And if I can minister to them, I will. I want to help them. And I said, that's where you conflict because you can't just quit because you got a mortgage to pay. Right. And now you either going to become like them and treat us like they do, right?
There you go.
And pretend like I don't mean to do this to you.
Right.
It's really not who I am, but my boss is watching.
Exactly.
So I got to handcuff you. Right. And I said, that's the common dilemma in this country because they claim to be a Christian nation, right? And we're in the South now. I'm from New Jersey, Bible Belt, they tell me.
That's what
and I said, so on Sunday, y'all get busy with this God thing. But when you come to work, they say, hey, don't forget to play. Don't do that here. I see you on Sunday. You're doing good. And I said, that's bothering you. What you going to do about it? He didn't answer. But he obliged me. And ever since I saw him, from that day, it was a whole, we communicated silently. Because I saw the burden on his back every time he came to work. He eventually went somewhere else. But that's in any space over here. You had a pressure of how you going to serve two masters. Where your values lie.
Yeah, well, that's
that's Donald Trump and most of the people in his party.
They're
like, I don't really rock with this dude like that. But if I don't, he showed me what he gonna do.
Show me what he gonna do. And and you got to have, you get the blessings of Donald Trump by proximity. And as long as you in proximity of him, you get those blessings, or
you call them blessings?
You avoid those curses. Well, hell, I mean, some of them, I'll take some of them, right? I'm just messing around, but no. I forget my jokes. To the I'm just no, absolutely not. But Will, what you said was, man, you read that because you was able to use your discernment along with you've seen through lived experience sitting in that place. You don't see these people come and go, but you also know what's real and that the body and the word of Christ will have a level of conviction on you. But apparently what I learned through by history, they may have that conviction through Christ, but that conviction ain't strong enough to supersede their reality in which they live. So the reality in which they live is all of these people says that these people are less than human. I want to treat them Christ-like, but I can't because of all of these people. And I have to be in proximity to these people so that I can pay for this mortgage and have this health care for my child that's coming.
Yeah.
Because if I treat these people like the Bible tells me, I'm gonna lose proximity.
Lose all of that. Yeah.
And so that's why they said the most segregated hour in America is 12 on a Sunday. You got the white church, you got the black church, and we all supposed to be serving Christ, and it's important because you got to understand that, because I said this, Will, so that story that you're telling goes into, you look at these, these churches are segregated, like Malcolm said. He said Sunday at 12 is the most segregated hour in America. Right after that, church at 12 o'clock and it ends at 2, 3 o'clock, they're attending public hangings.
That's right.
From church.
Yes, from church.
And so, whereas I learned from history how that man did what he did, like he went to church and on it, but he may not have been a part. He may not have been the one stringing you up.
Exactly.
But he was in attendance.
He was in attendance.
And he's like, man, I'm sorry it's got to happen to you, but you're not human to me. I can't apply God's love to you because they told me you're not human.
Exactly.
And so that's why they demonize us all the time, because because they cannot do that to a child of God. So therefore, I have to cast you as not a child of God. And all that black stuff that you're doing today is heresy. Yep. Meaning that it's not biblically or it's not normal. And that's how they're able to support a Trump. Trump told these people at Turning Point, Turning Point USA, which is the Christian, that thing, he told them in June, July of last year in running from it, he was like, I love you Christians. I'm not a Christian, but you guys vote for me this one time and we'll have it fixed so good you won't have to vote again. He said those words. And to a bunch of Christians. Yep. He said, I love you Christians. I'm not a Christian. And then he said, all you have to do is vote this one time. We have it fixed so good you won't have to vote again. And they cheered that shit.
Yeah. What did he say? Say it again.
What you mean? He said, I'm not a Christian. That's what he said. That's what he said.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. And they cheered it. Yeah. And so you telling me these evangelicals, that's why I always say, man, it would be hard for me to sit up under that type of pastor. I probably never will.
Yeah.
No,
you never will. Ain't no probably.
He gets me, he gets at me about going to church and things like that. Church is that's the sanctuary, but really,
it's like you said, you probably won't sit under those type of pastors.
I will never.
Not those.
I will.
Same prison, the chaplain there, the resident chaplain there, 9/11 had happened. I was at that facility. Mm-hmm. They called everybody to the gym, the whole camp, to have a prayer service for the country. I had been there long enough to have what I thought was a rapport with the chaplain. The next day or so, I went to his office. I said, Chaplain, I want to ask you something. He talked about he was a military chaplain and now he was a prison chaplain. I said, why you didn't pray for the Middle Easterners? He said, what? What do you mean by that? You see what they say? I saw what the news say. I was in prison when it happened. I saw what the news say. I said, but Jesus said, pray for your enemies.
Hey.
I didn't hear you mention nothing about praying for nobody from the Middle East.
Will, it seems like to me you're a challenger.
Will,
no, that's what it is.
No, you missed the memo. The memo is God bless America and no place else. You missed the memo.
I mean, that's what he said. You know what he said to me? He said, man, I'm not praying for them people. My point is, as long as you convince yourself that we're not human beings, you could do me any kind of way.
In an empirical society, you could do anything. You could do anything. Yeah. As long as you are in charge of the hierarchy of who is who, you could do anything. And in this imperial system, it's like you are not human.
No, I gotta say that. I have to run that narrative to justify to the world why you're being done that way, because I want to have a perception globally.
Yeah, right.
But you ain't human, man.
You're not human. Listen, you're not human because in the social structure.
And I like you, man, but you're not. I like my dog too.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Will, is with the non-melanated hat on, you're not human. I saved you.
Yeah.
You were savage.
Yes.
Yeah. You were savage and you had no way about yourself.
No.
I saved you by bringing you over here.
That's right.
Because that's what they got to tell themselves. Meanwhile, I learned that, they kidnap astronomers, scientists, botanists, mathematicians.
Exactly.
That's how they already knew the calendar from the stars and build it. Oh, that's who y'all kidnap. See, that's what I said. If you start your history with 1619, you've already lost. It goes back further than that. They didn't go on those shores and got slaves.
That's right. Yeah.
They did not get slaves.
Yeah. You're right.
You know, they got mathematicians. They got irrigationists. That, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they got tribe leaders and the Dogo and a whole bunch of Akan and a whole bunch of Yoruba. You know, they got tribal people that were fighters. And so when I tell you that you were savage, then you're no longer human. Therefore, I can treat you less than. Yeah.
Same thing, bro.
Which in turns goes to the monkey pictures.
All right.
So wait. Let me. After we go there, I looked up what you told me to look up.
What's that?
The question I posed, like, do we had to really look and see if these black banks are all owned by black people? So it said One United, one of the largest black-owned banks in the U.S. and certified as a community development financial institution, is majority black-owned and led by Chairman and CEO Kevin Cohey with Terry Williams. Yeah.
I told you.
So I had to look up the names and just so I could see a picture. They are black. So it says majority black-owned. I don't know what the majority means.
You do know what majority means. That means they got at least 51% stake. Somebody's holding 49.
When I read that, it said majority mean like somebody slipped in.
Well, again, if I was the others, I would.
Yeah.
So that I can get your money. You know, now I'm not saying it's right, but listen, in order to know how the enemy, you got to know how he moves.
Yeah. So I'm assuming
better know how he moved.
I didn't look up the others, but that was the first one.
Well, because it came up as the largest. Remember, I was saying that it was the largest, but then you said Liberty. I need to understand the assets and what makes one larger than the other, because that one said.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it has something to do with the assets or maybe the people. Yeah. But the City First Bank, it says emerging from the merger of City First Financial and Broadway Federal to become one of the largest black-led minority depository institutions. It's black-led with majority black board and leadership.
Who is that?
City First Bank.
Yeah. So if you look in the history too of One United, they absorb other banks. That's how One United became a bank, because they absorbed like this. That you're saying they absorbed other banks, which gave them the holdings or the assets to be one of the larger banks.
Okay. All right. So we go touch on real quick. Yeah. And it's been going on about 7 days now, maybe. The monkey pictures that Trump posted. I don't know if y'all want to touch on that a little bit.
Well,
it was crazy.
It segues right into what we were talking about, that how they rescued us because we were savages. You know, we were savages and we didn't have no civilization. We didn't hold that. Man, listen, these people had us watching Tarzan. You mean to tell me that this lily white man was the only one that could beat up all the Africans, talk to the lions, control the monkeys, and all those indigenous black people couldn't do that? He was the only one that could do it. You know? Yes. And so he was the one that was the king of the jungle, the white man amongst all the savagery of the natives, which would be in the African Americans. And so I know that I went on a tangent on this, but I'm just saying that when you are programmed, not only are we being programmed, they are being programmed as well. So the programming leads to, well, all black people are apes or primates or anything. So the programming didn't just happen with us. They got the programming message too. Therefore, they're calling us the N-word and apes. And that leads us to they think that is a derogatory term to call us an ape. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. What I'm saying is, calling me the N-word or ape is so old to me, or calling me a primate, because now that I know better, I can teach them better. And if you shave a monkey, he is white. And if you look at his lips, they are thin. They're not full. So if we evolved from a monkey, then what did you evolve from?
Now, some people say that he posted those 2 pictures, but I don't know. Did y'all see the whole picture or video with everybody?
I saw the video after the fact, but it was a picture first.
Picture first, right?
But there was a video.
Video, yeah.
Yeah, it was a video,
Yeah.
but he screenshot.
It was something
He
like
did
that.
the picture. There was a video. He screenshot the picture. Oh, let me take this back. His
assistant or whoever it was, yeah.
Because it ain't gonna be him.
Yeah, he can't possibly
I
do something like that. Right. Of course, we know he did it.
But you have some people who I guess I don't know if they was trying to say did y'all see the whole video, like it was still okay for him just to post those 2 pictures like he did everybody else. It was a Biden on there and a whole lot of other people.
Yeah, he had Hillary as a warthog or something like that. That was a video, but he had the screenshot of the monkeys. But then you have people that, again, like I just told you about, if you shave a monkey and you really look at his lips, who does he look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was also people that have been like, it was a spinoff from The Lion King. Well, there are no apes and no monkeys. There are no apes in The Lion King. So it wasn't a spinoff of The Lion King. And so that's how they tried to spin it. There are no apes. Well, you telling a person that come from a people who are okay with this. You know, there's a section of America that if I was, and I always, when I say the I, and I hope the audience understand when I say the I, if I not being me, if I was part of the Trump MAGAs or part of the white alliance, I'm cheering this on. I'm like, yeah, they monkeys. That's who they are. Yeah, they savagery, you know, and that's, I think it was funny. I don't find nothing offensive about it.
There's people who are like, this is Trump's way of thinking because we all think like that. Now Trump is giving that the green light.
Right. He's giving the green light. That's why they don't have to apologize for being white no more.
They were like, oh man, I was already thinking it. Now
he's doing it. And that's why he's going to always, there's a reason why he said he can shoot a person in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose one single voter. He knew his people. He knew that if he say the right things, post the right things, that he's going to be covered by the blood of whiteness. And so he continued with it. He doubles down on it. He never apologizes because there's a base that will keep him in office 100%. Because of what he's doing.
Not like that.
Well, yeah, we touched on a bit. We actually was here longer than I thought we would be here. And back to what Will said, you said get something free from the Impel Forward podcast. This is the Forward Social Podcast. This is not Impel Forward.
But Impel Forward merch.
Listen, man.
Stay tuned for a gift.
Look, I forget. Look, it's January 2nd, 2026, right? Somebody was still calling it 2025. It takes time, bro.
Yeah.
It takes time, man, to write 2026.
Yeah. Well, anything else y'all gentlemen would like to say? We welcome y'all, the audience who's looking, welcome y'all to the Forward Social Podcast. Stay tuned for more. Y'all good, fellas?
Yeah. Good with it, y'all. Take it easy.
KP.
I'm good, man.
Larry, the Modified Gentleman, and my man Will, the Forward Social Podcast. Peace.